Okay. You may see another one of these next week for the if-thens. I think I kind of screwed up. I had this idea and it just went that way, every which way. And it didn't come out the way I wanted it to. So you may see a second edition of this one next week. Welcome to If Then. This is the D. Louise book series, KRSTINA. This is where I read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, no special anything going on here, no fancy smanchy stuff. So anyway, this kind of took on a mind of its own. And it, like I said, it just went that way. And I may do another one next week to correct this one. But I went with the flow, and this is where I ended up. So what I was looking for, and you'll probably see it next week, is twins. I may do twins next week. May or may not. I may change my mind between now and then, but we'll see what happens. But I may do twins next week. This is supposed to be, and it didn't turn out that way. I will confess. This was supposed to be like secret identities, and it didn't. It just went zoom. So what we ended up with is some mistaken identity situations and some amnesia. We just went that way with amnesia. It just exploded with amnesia. So that's where this is the I screwed up the if then situation. And if you please hit the like and subscribe to support me. No negative anythings. And before I forget, I just found these the other day. I had lost these. They were floating under a pile. I hate it when I should rip those tags off. I really should. So Miss Trudy watches my channel every day. So thank you, Miss Trudy. And Leaf Sonata and Selena and Z-Book Nook. Thank you, ladies, for tuning in and keeping my channel alive. It is most appreciative. So, now I lost my glasses. I have I just literally had them. You know, I'm just batting 100,000 today. I swear it. How did I do that? Okay. So some of these are regencies. Some of these are not regencies. It just went that way. So, let's just get this one out of the way. I hemmed and hawed about it and hemmed and hawed about it, and just there's a couple of hers. I tried to do one of each author and I just got carried away. So, Lindsay Sands, The Switch. When they first met Lord Jeremy William Radcliffe, Charlie and her twin sister Elizabeth were escaping from their uncle, taking turns acting the young gentleman to avoid detection. But Charlie couldn't help falling head over heels and out of a window for the handsome lord. Of course, that was only the beginning. Lord Radcliffe insisted on showing him and her lovely sister safely to London. Or not to boy. But how could he do that? With every touch, Radcliffe seemed unknowingly to incite indecent desires in Charlie, and his fraternal intent was to land her in a fine mess. Though it was a great game to play a boy, there was more fun in being a female. And after one brush of her fiery lips, when her guise was gone, Charlie swore to be nothing but a woman for him forever. Aww. Ah. Mary BALOGH, The Secret Pearl. Mary BALOGH has no equal when it comes to capturing the complex, irresistible passions between men and women. He spies her in a shadow outside a London theater, a ravishing creature forced to barter her body to survive. To the woman known simply as Flora, the well-dressed gentleman with the mesmerizing eyes is an unlikely savior, and when she takes the stranger to her bed, she never expects to see him again. But then Flora accepts a position as a governess to a young girl, and is stunned to discover that her midnight lover is a powerful nobleman. As two weary hearts ignite, the threat of scandal hovers over them. One question remains: will she be his mistress or his wife? Hmm. An offer from a gentleman. A Bridgerton! Red alert! It's a Bridgerton! Sophie Beckett never dreamed she'd be able to sneak into Lady Bridgerton's famed masquerade ball, or that Prince Charming would be there waiting for her. Though the daughter of an earl, Sophie has been relegated to the role of servant by her disdainful stepmother, but now spinning in the strong arms of a debonair and devastating handsome Benedict Bridgerton, she feels like royalty. Alas, she knows all enchantments must end when the clock strikes midnight. Who was that extraordinary woman? Ever since the magical night, a radiant vision in silver has blinded Benedict to the attractions of any other, except perhaps this alluring and oddly familiar beauty dressed in housemaid's garb, whom he feels compelled to rescue from a disagreeable situation. He has sworn to find and wed his mystery miss, but this breathtaking maid makes him weak with wanting her. Yet if he offers her his heart, will Benedict sacrifice his only child for fairy tale love? Aww. Alright. Now, we said we'd see her again. She's over here. If you haven't watched Flashback Monday, please go watch Flashback Monday. I love me some Flashback Monday. It's just the absolute best. So, the Countess. So, did I screw up? Am I doing okay so far? Wait till we get to the end. The Countess got 4 stars. Sand's quirky sense of humor shines once more in a witty romance readers will adore. To settle her father's gambling debts, Christina Madison married Richard Earl of Radar. The overbearing Dickie has made her life a living hell, and when she learns he has kept her isolated from family and friends, she steams into his office only to find him dead. Her sister is begging to attend a ball, so Christina keeps her husband on ice while the real Richard returns. It seems his identical twin brother attempted to kill him didn't work, and he's back for revenge, but all he finds is a body and a tempting widow. Ten? Get a 10? The Secret Duke. These are my authors. The Secret Duke. Known for her marvelous, I got 4.5 stars, by the way. Known for her marvelous storytelling, Beverley sets the finale of her rakish trilogy in Georgiana, England. Amongst dangerous secrets and retribution, she ably places her protagonist in the era. God, the lighting in here. 4 years ago, Bella Barstow was abducted and feared for her virtue. She was saved by the roguish Captain Rose, master of the Black Swan. But she fled not knowing that Captain Rose was a cover for the powerful Duke of Isthorn. Now living in London, she copies letters for a scandal sheet. When she uncovers the truth behind her kidnapping and vows revenge, she turns to the one person who can help her. Captain Rose Thorn is happy to oblige, but he's never forgotten that intriguing female. The lighting in here is bad. Love in the Afternoon, Lisa Calipis. Now we're gonna do my favorite one at the end. The very last book is gonna be my favorite one. Love in the Afternoon, 4.5 stars. Readers have fallen in love with Hathaway, eagerly anticipating animal-loving Beatrix story. Unconventional, delightfully touching, and unforgettable are watchwords for this series. One of the things keeping Captain Christopher Pelham alive in a Crimea are the letters he receives from a blonde beauty, Prudence Mercer. When Prue mentions Christopher's letters about the regimental dog, Albert, Beatrix does the unthinkable. She offers to write to him using Prue's name. His letters touch her, and her correspondence leads to her falling hopelessly in love. When Christopher returns home, he is wounded in body and soul, seeking peace and love of the woman who wrote "Find Me." Believing it is Prudence, he ignores Beatrix, but it soon becomes obvious that Prue is too empty-headed to have been the author of those letters. So who wrote those letters? We shall see. Ah, this is one of the other ones. Let me go this way first. The Earl Takes All. 4.5 stars. Lorraine Heath. Only a storyteller of Heath's consummate skills could put off such an unconventional plotline, and does it with compassion, elegance, reminding readers of redeeming aspects of love. Several years ago, Edward Alcott stole a kiss from his twin brother's fiancée Julia, and realized he was in love. Though a scoundrel, Edward would never jeopardize his relationship with his brother, so he tried to forget the searing kiss. Then a freak accident and a vow to his dying brother sends him back to Julia. He must pose as the Earl of Grayling until Julia gives birth to the child she carries. Julia finds Edward distant and preoccupied, longing for his love and passion. She dares to lure him into her arms. Ah. So I did do some twins. I forgot. I know there's 2. Never judge a lady by her cover. Four and a half stars. The secret is out. McClan fans will recognize Lady Georgiana Pearson from previous books and understand why she needs her very own HEA. But many will be surprised if shocked to discover that Georgiana's HEA is the key to revealing Chase's mysterious identity. Lady Georgiana caused a scandal by becoming an unwed mother before her first season, but found a way to survive the ruin, becoming Chase, the owner of London's most sought-after gambling club, and the sultry Anna, the club's liaison to Chase. Though she has sworn off love and society, she must re-enter the time for her daughter's sake. A newspaper publisher, Duncan West, is drawn to her and silently vows to help her find a husband. But Duncan also needs Chase's help in unmasking a traitor. The sun. There we go. We'll just do this one. I thought it was a good one to do. The Accidental Countess. The lady in purple and the guy with no shirt. Valerie Bowman, 4.5 stars. Mistaken Identity provides the delightful premise of Bowman's smart and witty second playful bride story. Readers will take the well-drawn, likable characters in their hearts. Lady Cassandra Monroe is in love with her cousin Penelope, betrothed Captain Julian Swift, and he wrote him letters every day he was away. Cass thinks he never be hers until she masquerades as Penelope, supposed friend Patient Bambury. Following Waterloo, Julian is not eager to enter into the unwed marriage. He plans to tell Penelope how he feels at a country house. Then he meets Patience, who is delightful, witty, kind, and sensual. Cass plays along with Julian, seizing the opportunity to be his until Penelope arrives. Penelope and Julian are caught in a tangled web. Okay. So we got a couple more. Oh, I didn't do that one. The Other Side of Town. Perfect picked. Determined to prove her independence, Mia Monroe is no longer Daddy's little rich girl. Buying an old car with the last of her money, she sets out for who knows where, until her clunker clunks out in Cricket Creek. With no plans and no credit cards, Mia has to find more resilience than she's ever needed before, and a little help from an attractive new acquaintance couldn't hurt. As first baseman for the Cricket Creek Cougars, Cameron Patrick has two jobs: winning games and keeping his nose clean. If he can do both, he might make it back to the minor leagues. He knows Mia is trouble from the moment she catches his eye, but he can't stop looking. Maybe her kind of trouble is exactly what he needs. When the Marquise was mine. Georgiana Lucas despises the arrogant and cruel Marquis of Westmoreland, even before learning that he's won the deed to her friend Kitty's home in a card game. Still, Georgiana assures Kitty the Marquis wouldn't possibly come all the way out to Derbyshire to throw them out, until he shows up bloody and unconscious. Fearing that Kitty would rather see him die, Georgina blurts out that he's her fiancé. She'll nurse the hateful man back to health and make him vow to leave and never return. The man who wakes up, though, is nothing like the heartless rogue Georgina thought she knew. He wakes up with no memory of being assaulted or who he is. The bewitching beauty tending him so devoted calls him Rob and claims she's his fiancée, even as she avoids his touch. Though he can't remember how he won her heart, he's now determined to win her heart again. But as his memory turns and the truth revealed, Rob must decide if the game is up or if he'll take a chance at love. Hopefully he will take a chance at love. A Cowboy to Remember. With a headline spot on Morning Snow and a mouth-watering culinary skills, Chief Evie Buchanan is perched on the edge of stardom. But at an industry party, a fall lands Evie in the hospital with no memory of who she is. Scrambling to help, Evie's assistant contacts the only family Evie has left, close friends who run the Luxury Dude Ranch in California where Evie grew up. Evie has no recollection of them until the former rodeo champion Zach Pleasant walks into a hospital room and she realizes he's the handsome face that's been haunting her dreams her whole life. An Heiress Guide to Deception and Desire. Better. 1867 England. As half of the writing duo behind England's most infamous crime column, Miss Caroline Hardcastle has quite the scandalous reputation. It may have cost her fiancé, but she would much rather bring attention to crimes about those ignored by society than worry about what the Ton thinks of her. After Carol's dear friend is kidnapped, however, she has no choice but to work with Lord Valentine Thorne, the same man who broke her heart. Worse, when her actions put her father's business at risk, A marriage of convenience may be her only solution, but can she trust Val to stand by her, or will their past repeat? Val, the new Viscount Rackham, is in an unattainable position. His father is demanding he find a respectable bride to secure the succession. Yet the only woman he has ever loved, Miss Caroline Hardcastle, is notorious for behaving improperly, and she's never forgiven him for his youthful transgressions, missteps made by the name of familiar duty, but ones he still regrets to this day. They will have to come closer. Should we split this up into two? Now let's just keep going. The Verdun Affair, Nick DYBEK. In 1921, two young Americans meet in Verdun, the city in France where one of the most devastating battles of the war was waged. Tom is an orphan from Chicago, a former ambulance driver now gathering bones for the battlefield. Sarah is an expatriate from Boston searching for the husband who wandered off from his division and hasn't been seen since. Quickly, the two fall into a complicated affair against the ghostly backdrop of the ruined city. Months later, Sarah and Tom meet again at a psych ward of an Italian hospital, drawn there by the appearance of a mysterious patient. The doctors called Douglas Fairbanks, after the silent film actor, a shell-shocked soldier with no memory of who he is. At the hospital, Tom and Sarah are joined by Paul, an Australian journalist with his own interest in the amnesiac. Each is keeping a secret. Each has been taken by the horrors of wars. Decades later, Tom, now a successful screenwriter, encounters Paul by chance in L.A. With grappling with the questions raised by the gorgeous and incisive novel, How to Begin Again After an Unfathomable Trauma. The Highlander's Promise. Naked guy on the cover. Ole Buchanan has retreated to his clan's hunting yacht for a few days of relaxation, but the raven-haired beauty he pulls from the ocean puts an end to any chance of rest. Though he christens her Jetta, she knows nothing of her real identity, save that someone is trying to kill her. As she recovers, it will not be easy for Ole to protect her and keep her honor intact when she mistakenly believes they are man and wife. Naked guy on the cover. The True Queen, Zen Show. When sisters Muna and Saliki wake up on the peaceful beach of island of DYBEK, they can't remember anything except that they are bound as only sisters can be. They have been cursed by an unknown enchanter, and slowly Saki starts to fade away. The only hope of saving her is to go to the distant Britain, where the sorceress royal has established an academy to train women in magic. Okay. Forget Me Not. 3 years after Ashley Ryan's husband Devin died in a car wreck, she still can't move on. Then, on a getaway to Catalina Cove, Louisiana, Ashley is shocked when she encounters a man named Ray Sullivan, who is unmistakably Devin. Ray moved to the coastal town after waking up in a hospital with amnesia. Haunted by a past he can't remember, he's built a quiet life running boat tours. He has no memory of his Ashley, but he is irresistibly drawn to her. Does she tell him? Mary Jo Putney, the Silver Lady. A sense of duty tends Bran Tremaine to Cornwall to confront his heritage of British nobility. Abandoned at birth, Bran wants nothing to do with the remains of his family, but as a special agent for the Home Office, he can't turn away from the vulnerable woman he encounters on the Cornish countryside. Merriman's amnesia makes her past a mystery to both of them, but Bran uncovers that she is at the center of the plot between French agents and Cornish smugglers. Adrift, Lisa BRIDEAU. It just turned out better than I thought it would. Although I should have done, I was trying to figure out how to do 2 podcasts, one Regency and one not. I said, you know what, just put it all together. S wakes up alone on a sailboat in a remote Pacific Northwest with no memory of who she is or how she got there. She finds a note, but it's more warning than comfort. Start over. Don't make yourself unknown. Don't look back. East must have answers. She sails over a turbulent ocean to a town hundreds of miles away. She hopes might offer insight. The chilling clues she uncovers points to a desperate attempt at crashing her former life. But why? And someone is watching her, someone she knows. She must never learn the truth. David Rosenfeld, Black and Blue. Doug Brock hasn't had it easy since getting shot in the line of duty as New Jersey State Police officer. Between the amnesia and having to solve 2 murder cases, it hasn't been the most restful recovery. He's slowly earning back the trust of his girlfriend Jessie since he doesn't remember their breaking up, and has focused on new crimes with his partner Nate. But now an old case of Doug's has resurfaced, and it's up to him to retrace his steps he can't remember in order to solve it. 18 months ago, Walter Brookings was shot through the heart. With no clear motive and no similar murders, the investigation stalled and became a cold case. When another man is murdered in the same fashion and ballistics come back as a match, Doug has to investigate. Better. Never, Never, Colleen Hoover. She is very, very, very popular nowadays. Very, very popular. Charles Winward and Silas Nash have been best friends since they could walk. They've been in love since the age of 14, but as of this morning, they are complete strangers. They kissed, their first fight, the moment they fell in love. Every memory has vanished. Now Charlie and Silas must work together to uncover the truth about what happened to them and why. And our last book, or almost last book, Christina Dodd, Point Last Seen. When you've already died, there should be nothing left to fear. When Adam Ramsdell pulls Ellie's half-frozen body from the surf on a lonely California beach, she has no memory of how she ended up there, but what her full name is and how she got those terrible bruises on her throat. Ellie finds refuge in Adam's home on the edge of Gothic, a remote village located between the steep, lonely mountains and the raging Pacific Ocean. As flashes of her memory turn, Ellie faces a terrible truth buried in her mind, lurks a secret so dark it could get her killed. Creepy. Eerie. So what'd you think of my amnesia, mistaken identity, and twins situation? Was it good? Please hit the old thumbs up. Oh, and my final book. I think I might do a reading. Look for a reading on a Saturday. Devil's Bride. When Honoria starts out, she has no idea who Devil is. And it's just hysterical. She's caught in a compromising position and she just thinks he's a guy and she's gonna be independent and she's gonna be fierce and she's not gonna marry this guy at all. This is my bookmark. She's not gonna marry this guy at all. And then she discovers who he is and she's like, "You're who? You're what?" We gotta do a reading. Since I pulled it out. So if you could please hit the like and subscribe. And if you're gonna do the Sinsters, this is book 1. Check it out later on a Saturday. Have a good one.